Hello children, welcome to Edusat English Teleteaching program. My dear children, today we are going to discuss the second part of the priceless gift of your class 9 textbook. So, before going to discuss the next part, let us have a recapitulation of the previous class what we have already discussed. Let us see what we discussed in the last session. So, the priceless gift part 1, and we have discussed 2 SCPs, right, sense group paragraphs. First SCP, and we have discussed the first meeting of the writer with the girl in the restaurant and his eagerness to know about the girl. So, the writer meets the girl and the situation of the girl that creates interest and eagerness in the mind of the writer to know about the identification of the girl. And we also discussed the writer meets the girl for the second time, the second meeting of the writer with the girl in the restaurant and their conversation. So, today we are going to discuss the next part, maybe the third meeting or the visit of the writer in the girl's house, right, what happens and whether the writer will visit the girl and know a lot of things about the girl. Let us go to the text. Now, you see the text and listen to me. Soon we approached their neighborhood. We had reached a narrow doorway. Maggie took a thin latch key out of her pocket and opened the door. She entered and said, "Please come in." Together we descended the stairs to the kitchen. "Mother," said Maggie from the doorway, "an Indian gentleman has come to see you." So, now you see a few new words for you. You just see approached and the meaning is came nearer. So, soon we came nearer their neighborhood. Neighborhood, you see neighborhood, the word neighborhood meaning is community or surroundings. आमे पड़ोसी पाख पड़ोसी आमे जो कहूचे. So, soon we reached, here we means the writer and the girl. They reached nearer their neighborhood and we had reached a narrow doorway. Then they reached a narrow doorway. Doorway, you know, आमे जहाँ कबाट कथा कहूचे. Maggie took a thin latch key, you see, right, latch key, lock key. We open with the lock key, right, and what happened? They reached there. Maggie opened the door and she entered and said, "Please come in." So, Maggie invited the writer into the room and together we descended, you see, right, and please remember the meaning, moved down, right. So, the home was under the down, that means somehow it was under another floor and we descended the stairs underground, right, underground house. So, we descended the stairs to the kitchen. So, the stairs were to the kitchen where Maggie's mother was there and Maggie said, "Mother, an Indian gentleman has come to see you," right. So, this is the paragraph and let us go to the next part. Mother said, "Where is he?" the old man asked eagerly with a smile. I stepped into the kitchen behind Maggie. She introduced us. "How do you do?" I said and held out my hand. "Excuse me, my hands are covered with flour. I am making cakes. People will come to buy them this evening and this is the way we make our living, lots of trouble." So, my dear children, you see. So, where is he? The old man asked eagerly. So, when the old man heard Maggie said an Indian gentleman had come, then the old lady, she was very much eager to see, and then Maggie introduced us and the old man said, "How do you do?" How do you do? This is a greeting. When we say good morning, how do you do, and the response is how do you do. पिलेमाने एटा मन रखिता. आमे गुड मॉर्निंग कहले रेस्पॉन्स होची गुड मॉर्निंग. आमे गुड इवनिंग कहले गुड इवनिंग. आमे जेतले हाउ डू यू डू कहबा, हाउ आर यू आमे न कहि के हाउ डू यू डू तार रेस्पॉन्स होची. आमे कहचे हाउ आर यू, Now we are fine or we are good. How do you do means the response is how do you do. How do you do ଯେତେବେଳେ ପଚାରିବ ଜଣେ ଆମେ କହିବା how do you do, ପୁଣି repetition but focus on or more emphasis on you do, right. And the lady said, excuse me, my hands are covered with flour, I am making cakes, and the lady was making cakes and people will come to buy them this evening. Them here the cakes, right. This is the way we make our living with lots of trouble. The writer understands that a lot of trouble or a lot of difficulties were there, family difficulties were there, right. And Saturday night is a time of festivity in poor neighborhoods. All kinds of things are sold on this night. The streets are more crowded than any other day. This is the day when they are able to spend a little from their weekly wages. So, you can find new words, festivity, and the meaning is festivity means celebration or merry making, माने मजा करती खुशीबासी करती से right. So, Saturday night is a time of festivity. As we have already discussed, Saturday is the pay day. They are workers, most of them were workers, and that is why they receive money, they get money, they find money, and that is why they enjoy that Saturday, right. And all kinds of things are sold on this night, right. So, Saturday is a night for celebration, and Maggie's mother was making cakes and they will sell the cakes, and the people, the neighborhood people, they will buy these cakes and they will enjoy, right. This is how they were living, right. So, let us go to the questions. SCP-3, this is SCP-3, we have already completed, we completed 2 SCPs in the previous class. Let us go to the question number 1. You see, my dear children, did Maggie take the writer home? You know, we have already discussed, right. Yes, right. The next question, what was Maggie's mother doing? So, the Maggie's mother, who was a old lady and was a widow, who was a widowed lady, what she was doing? She was making cakes, right. And question number 3, why was she making cakes? She was making cakes to sell in the evening, right. Yes. Next question, how did they make their living? They made their living by making cakes and selling to people, right. And next question, question number 5, why Saturday of festivity in their neighborhood? Saturday is the day of festivity in their neighborhood, because you see that is a pay day and all things are sold, streets are crowded, spend little, the people, the workers, they spend little money from their weekly wages. So, they enjoy and they happily, they cheerfully, they enjoy the night, right. Question number 6. So, she usually takes the village road. She means here Maggie, the little, the young girl, the poor girl. So, she usually takes the village road, but why did not she take this road that day? जो दिन राइटर संगे जाऊला से दिन से कहीं विलेज रोड न जाइए अन्य गोटे रास्तार जाइला, राइट. एंड द आंसर इज द रोड वाज बीइंग रिपेयर्ड. सो द विलेज रोड वाज बीइंग रिपेयर्ड, दैट्स व्हाई both of them they walked through the bridge, right. And why did Maggie carry the key and open the door herself without asking her mother to open the door, right. And the answer is the mother was actually making cakes and Maggie had the key, the latch key was with Maggie, not with her mother. So, when Maggie returned, the key was with her, that is why Maggie opened the door, right. Let us go to SCP-4 and this is part 2. So, now my dear children, we completed part 1 and part 1 consists of 3 SCPs, 3 parts, sub parts. I have already told you in the previous class, I told you the entire story has been divided into 4 parts, but for your better understanding, easy reading, I have divided into 7 SCPs. So, we completed 2 SCPs in the previous class, now we completed 1 SCP, now you see SCP number 4. What kind of country is India, sir? asked Mistress Betty as she resumed her cooking. A beautiful country, safe to live in. Are not there too many snakes and tigers? Do not they kill people? This type of question has often been asked. Don't believe that snakes and tigers are killed by the people if they come too close, right. So, you see what kind of country is India, sir? So, asked Mistress Betty as she resumed her cooking. You see resumed, a new word, right. Look at the meaning. Continued. So, as she continued, as she began making the cake once again, आग से राइटर जो पहुँचले से करुले पिठा करुले एवं स्टॉप्ड तापर अगेन कंटिन्यूड दैट व्हाट वी से रिज्यूम्ड once she stopped, then she started, she began to make cakes once again, right. So, Maggie's mother continued again making cakes. Here mother asks, a beautiful country, is it safe to live in? Question mark is there, right. Are not there too many snakes and tigers? Don't they kill people? These are some of the questions which came to the mind of the old lady. And this type of question has often been asked. That means माँ सब बेले ये भलिया प्रश्न पचार पुओ बहुत दिन है फेरीनी. His son has not returned to home for a long period. That's why many things, many thoughts, different types of dangerous thoughts come to the mind of the mother, right. And that's why don't believe that snakes and tigers killed by the people if they come too close, right. Let's go to the next part. My son is in the Punjab. He is a soldier. What kind of place is the Punjab? The Punjab is a fine place. It is a very healthy place to live in. I am glad to hear it. Mistress Betty said. Her baking was finished. Maggie, she said, take Mr. Gupta upstairs. I will wash my hands and bring tea, right. So, you see my son is in. Now, the lady talks about her son. My son is in the Punjab. The Punjab you see, usually here the is used the article because the Punjab that consisted of some places and that was called the Punjab, right. So, he is a soldier and the profession of his son is he was a soldier, and what kind of place is the Punjab? Mother asks this type of question, right. The Punjab is a fine place, it is a beautiful healthy place to live in. I am glad to hear it. Mistress Betty said her baking was finished, and then Maggie, she said, take Gupta. She asked Gupta to take upstairs, right. And mother said, I will wash my hands and you please bring tea, we will have tea, we will drink tea, right. As we drank tea, I talked about India. Mistress Betty showed me a photograph of her son. It had been kept very neatly in an envelope by the mother. His name was Frankie. Maggie said, Mistress Betty, show Mr. Gupta the ring which your brother sent you. She bought it and asked, can you see the past and future in it? I took it and examined it. So, two things, they started drinking tea, they talked themselves, and the old lady mother of Frankie, Mistress Betty, showed the photograph and asked her daughter Maggie to show the ring, right. And she brought it and asked, can you see the past and future in it? So, the lady had strong faith that when someone looks at the ring, he can see the future and past on it, right. And the writer examined it, right. When Frankie said the ring, Mistress Betty said he wrote that if you concentrate on a distant person as you gaze into it, you will be able to see him and what he is doing. We have not heard any news from Frankie for a long time, but we have not been able to see anything. Why don't you try? You are an Indian, you may be able to do it. I did not have the heart to tell the mother and daughter that the ring was nothing much, not a miraculous thing from a distant land. How could I shatter their dream? So, let us see the meaning of some new words. So, now you children, you see the word concentrate, and the meaning of the word is think about closely, put mind to, जोटा कि आमे गोटे मन को लगेबा, we to put our mind, that is what we say concentration, right. And next in this passage you can find miraculous. Miraculous is a word, you see the meaning, very wonderful, amazing, surprising, right thing, that is what we say miraculous, right. So, let us discuss. When Frankie sent the ring, Mr. Spethy said, he wrote that if you concentrate, if you put your mind on a distant person, if you think closely about a person and you gaze into it, you will be able to see him, and what he is doing you can find, right. So, the ring which Mistress Bethy and Maggie showed to the writer, they said, you can, if you look at this ring, you can, if you gaze this ring, gaze into it, then you can find the person who is in a distant place, and you can also see what the person is doing. But we have not been able to see anything. The Maggie's brother Frankie said this, right, wrote this, but unfortunately they are not showing, they are not able to show their, or the mother's son or Maggie is unable to see his brother. That is why mother Mistress Bethy asked the writer, you please see, you please examine, why do not you try, you are an Indian, you may be able to do it. I did not have the heart to tell the mother and daughter that the ring was nothing much, not a miraculous. So, the writer knows actually Frankie प्रकृत रे कहितला एटा तांको बुझेया पे, किंतु तार किछि मिराकुलस नथिला, सेमति किछि जादू नथिला ता भितरे, राइट. किंतु ए कथा राइटर कहि परले नै. द राइटर could not express his own feeling before the mother and the sister, right, about Frankie. Let us go to the questions. SCP-4, question 1, you see, what does Mistress Bethy think of India? So, Mistress Bethy think of India, that India is unsafe country full of snakes and tigers, and tiger snakes they can kill anybody. That was the thought in the mind of Mistress Bethy, because her son was in India and did not return for a long time. He did not send any letter to her mother or to her sister for a long time. That is why mother thought like this, India is unsafe to stay, that is a place full of snakes and tigers. So, my dear children, let us go to question number 2. Are her views about India correct? Right? No, right? And where does her son work and what is he? कोठी थिला, कोठी काम करुथिला, कोन काम करुथिले? A soldier and in the Punjab, right? He was a soldier in the Punjab, right? And question number 4, what is his name? You see, his name was Frankie, right? So, in the story, in Frankie's family, there were 3 members, Frankie, his sister Maggie, and his mother, whose father was dead, Mistress Bethy, right. So, next question, what is special about the ring that Frankie sent, right? See, movie re kon special thila, the special thing is that one can see a distant person in it if one looks at the ring and thinks about the person. That was the special thing which Frankie said, Frankie told his mother and sister, right. Next question, question number 6, is it true that one can see a distant person in it if one looks at the ring and thinks about the person, right? And the answer is, you see, no, this is not a miraculous ring, you cannot see, right? That was only for consolation. Question number 7, did the writer know that this was not true? Why did not he tell this to Mistress Bethy, right? And the answer is, you see, yes, the writer knows that this was not true, you cannot see this, right, and only the writer did not tell this, did not express his own feeling, because he did not want them to make them sad, he wanted them to make them happy, right. And next paragraph, several months passed. I visited Maggie and Mrs. Betty, but no news had come from Frankie. Mrs. Betty was sick in a serious condition, aggravated by her anxiety for Frankie. I was in a fix. What could I say to console the mother? Only God knew whether Frankie was still alive or dead. Mr. Gupta, the girl said, my mother has not been ill like this. So, after several months, the writer visited Maggie and the condition aggravated, you see, aggravated, right, and the meaning is increased, became very serious, very worse, and the console, you see, the meaning is express sympathy, right, santona dava. So, the mother was very ill, very serious, and Maggie wanted the writer to console him, right. I have read in books that Indians love the truth. If you could bring yourself to tell mother only once after looking into the crystal that Frankie is all right, that he is alive, will it be much of a lie? Will it be very wrong? I thought it over. I am not very virtuous man, so I decided to do this, the list of my offences, right. So, Maggie requested the writer to say that he can see or he could see his son and he was alive, but this will not be seen. Actually, Maggie ma खुशी होगा पाई बहुत seriously ill थी सी, तेणु Maggie requested the writer to tell a lie, right. And you see, Maggie brought me the ring. I took it and approached her mother's side. Went near, wishing her a good morning. I said, Mrs. Betty, your son is alive. मुदुकी देखिले सांग सांगे writer कहउचंदी, yes, your son is alive, right. So, he is well. The old man raised her head a little off the pillow. Tears of happiness welled off in her eyes. Mrs. Betty soon recovered. You see the new words, right. Welled off, flow. Tears of happiness, खुशी रे जेतले writer जेते कहि दिले जे पुआ भल रे अछि, बंचिची किछि असुविधा नाही. When the writer said he is alive, he is well, so tears of happiness welled off, flowed out of his eyes, out of her eyes, and Mr. Betty soon recovered, you see, cured, became well, right. And let us go to the questions. When did the writer visit Betty's house? For the second time, yes, the answer is after several months. The next question, why did Mrs. Betty more worried? Because no news had come from Frankie, right. So, Mrs. Betty was very much worried. And why was her sickness aggravated, right? And the answer is due to her anxiety for Frankie. से पूरापूरी विचलित हो जाइथिले, उद्विग्न थिले, right? Why did Maggie want the writer to tell a lie? Because to make her mother happy and for early recover, right? And did the writer keep her request? How? Yes, for recovery Mrs. Betty from her illness, right? What did he say looking at the ring? Right, he said Frankie was alive, his son was alive, he was well. And did Maggie's mother recover from her illness? How? Yes, you see, yes, to know that her son was alive, he became cured. So, my dear children, let us sum of what we discussed, right. Today we discussed one SCP from part 2 and another from part 3. So, we discussed 3 SCPs, part 1 last SCP and part 2 1 SCP, 2 SCPs and part 3 1 SCP. In these 3 parts we discussed the writer visits Maggie's house and meets her mother and experiences, right, the family situation. He feels that how the family was full of sorrows and sufferings. And we also discussed there was a conversation, there was a talk between Maggie's mother and the writer about Frankie's ring, about the photograph. And the third thing we discussed in the third SCP, the writer visits Maggie's house for the second time, and Mr. Bessie was very ill, and Maggie requested the writer to tell a lie, that he should say that her brother was alive, and the writer told her mother that the son was alive, Frankie was alive and mother got cured. Mother became very much happy. So, dear students, thank you very much. We will discuss the next part in the next session.